Has DBD gotten better? I'd say it's hard to argue that it's gotten better, at least overall. In many ways, DBD has gotten worse. The average map has been getting more survivor-sided, with buffs to midwich, new palettes making the hallways that were previously dead zones stronger, as well as preventing more ranged killers from being able to get hits there. Shelter Woods getting a huge buff with main building in Skull Merchant's release. And with the rise in Sprint Burst guaranteeing Dead Dog main to anyone on the map, there really aren't any maps that lean heavily in the killer's favor anymore. Meanwhile, maps that are survivor-sided keep getting added and sometimes even buffed. Swamp is one of the largest maps in DBD, and the one thing that used to hold it back was that the edges had no resources. This meant that survivors couldn't actually take you to the longest points on the map unless they wanted to guarantee themselves a down. However, in the palette update, Swamp was given more palettes in those edges, and now you can go pretty much anywhere on this gigantic map and you'll find resources, whether it be a poglog, a baby resource, or one of the 3 main buildings, or shack, or whatever else it could be. It was already an extremely survivor-sided map, and yet it got buffed. Additionally, when we look at new maps like FNAF, we find a main that is like Dead Dog, only the rest of the map is also in Survivor's favor, with many strong tiles still decorated around, even though the main building is so long that you can literally lose chase and create an infinite against normal killers. The only notable nerf to maps I can think of was to Crotus Pren, with its main losing many of its palettes, and while that is a good step, a small nerf here and there isn't going to compensate for the overall trend, which is maps getting stronger and stronger. Survivors have been getting more strong perks as time has gone on, while Killer for the most part stagnates or gets even weaker. Vigil is buffed, and now you see Sprint Burst and Vigil in just about every lobby, sometimes multiple times. Shoulder the Burden was added with Tori. Resurgence got buffed to 70%. Hyperfocus Stakeout has risen in popularity, and Fast Track is on its way to being buffed to be even stronger, thus buffing Hyperfocus Stakeout's power. Meanwhile, we look at killer perks, and what we find is many nerfs. Nerfs to things like Pain Res, nerfs to things like Pop, and if you look at the perks themselves, 8 chapters ago we got Friends Till the End, a decent info perk. 9 chapters where there was Ultimate Weapon, a good info perk that got nerfed into the ground. 12 chapter ago we have Night's Nowhere to Hide, again, an okay info perk for some killers, but not the most consistent, until 16 chapters ago where we actually start to see some serious perks. But this is Artist. This is a long time ago. 16 chapters for Pain Res, Grim Embrace, and Penthy. Pentimento has been nerfed since then, but still it's a decent perk. But that is such a long time ago. Meanwhile, you look at survivor perks. Quan Tai Young, the one that's coming out with Trickster's next update, has 5 moves ahead, which is just an objectively better windows of opportunity, and Flow State, which would be a good perk, if not for the fact that we've been having extreme power creep and healing from perks like Aurelis Do No Harm and the previously mentioned Resurgence. Bees 1, 2, 3, 4 combined with Hyperfocus Stakeout and Bardic Inspiration can all make gens go incredibly fast. Michonne's Conviction at its peak was incredibly strong, and even though it's been nerfed, it's still a very good option. Tori's Shoulder the Burden makes it so that any killer below B tier should frankly just never win. Sable Strength and Shadows, again, this would be a great perk. It would be a good perk, but it's been simply outclassed by new perks. Nicolas Cage's Plot Twist and Dramaturgy, both incredible additions. Gabriel's MFT and the buffs to We're Gonna Live Forever. And while Vecna, the most recent killer, has finally broken this trend and given killers some good options, 16 chapters in order to finally get another handful of good options doesn't just erase those chapters that happened in between, where survivors were continually getting more and more power while killers weren't. Additionally, base kit mechanics have been favoring survivors more and more. While we were able to avoid the terror that was the 9.2.0 changes, things like 15-second BT and 70-second hook timers slipped through, making it impossible to punish survivors who body block you, essentially granting survivors a free health state anytime you round a hook. 15 seconds is simply too long to wait out. A survivor can literally body block you for 5+ seconds and still make it to an entire different loop than the survivor they're body blocking for. 70-second hook timers, the extra 10 seconds is very notable, and we've seen that survivors have been more efficient with that time. And in this time, no new killers have surpassed Nurse and Blight, unlike the new perks that have surpassed the previous survivor metas. And while Nurse and Blight certainly still need nerfs, they have in fact been nerfed. Meanwhile, survivors have been getting stronger with buffs to their base kit and stronger perks being introduced or buffed themselves. So is DBD getting better? Unless you're comparing it to a starting point like the Eruption meta or the long Dead Hard meta, it's really hard for me to say that it has been getting